Welcome, everybody. Now, if you feel stuck or heavy or constantly exhausted, no matter how much rest you get, there's a good chance it's not that you're tired, but that you're actually you're carrying around emotional weight that no one ever taught you how to put down. And so what we want to talk about today is I want to talk to you about what I call the Forgiveness Playbook, which is really just going to be this practical way, like a real life guide that finally shows you how you can release your past so that you can show up fully as a parent, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as an impact maker. I'm not talking about pretending the thing didn't hurt or just letting it go or forgiving people to reconcile and things like that. No, we're talking about how you learn how to forgive in a way that actually works when you're busy and overwhelmed and still trying to be there for everyone else. Now, there's this moment in life where you realize that forgiveness isn't about letting somebody else off the hook in any sort of way. It's about unhooking yourself from the past that just keeps pulling you backwards and keeps weighing you down. That moment where everything that moment is something that shifted for me drastically. For years, I walked around with kind of that full backpack of the emotional river rocks, the memories, the mistakes, the betrayals, the disappointments that other people had done and that I had done. Some had names, some had dates, some were versions of me that I hadn't forgiven yet. And I convinced myself carrying them around made me wise, or I protected myself, or made me stronger because of that. I had tough skin, but really it made me tired, exhausted tired, short temper tired, right? That I can't be fully present and be authentically myself for the people that I love kind of tired. And maybe that's where you are too, because it shows up in so many different ways. Like I was mentioning, as a parent, maybe you keep snapping, when you don't want to. Not because you're a bad parent, but because the emotional weight of your past keeps stealing your bandwidth and that energy from you. Maybe you're an entrepreneur who hesitates every time an opportunity shows up. Not because you're not capable of that opportunity, but because that old failure that you never forgave yourself is still whispering in the background something to you. Or maybe you're an employee who keeps shrinking in rooms, where maybe you should be leading. Not because you're not qualified, but because someone years ago made you feel small and you never released your grip on that moment. Now, I need you to hear me, because there's this thing, people are waiting for you to wake up and be able to provide them with your combination of gifts, superpowers, and experiences. You're the only person with your combination of gifts, superpowers, and experiences, which means you're the only person who can make the impact in their lives that you can. And there are people waiting for you to realize that. Well, part of that is releasing that baggage, that weight, those rocks that you're carrying around with you from your past, whether it was things that you've done that you haven't forgiven yourself for, or things that someone has done to you that you haven't forgiven them for. The truth that most people never hear is that unforgiveness doesn't just show up as anger. It shows up as exhaustion. It shows up as doubt, as the quiet sense that you're always bracing for impact. Something's coming. And the hardest part is that most of the people whose rocks you're carrying, they're not even thinking about it anymore. They don't even think about you anymore in that situation. You're holding weight that was never handed to you. You just went and picked up that rock yourself and decided to throw it in your bag. The day I realized that that I was punishing myself far more than anyone else ever had was the day that everything changed for me. Forgiveness stopped being something I thought about someday, but became the doorway to actually living again as my authentic self. And so today we're going to be talking about that and diving deep into it. This idea of what I call the Forgiveness Playbook. It's how you finally set down all the emotional weight that's been stealing your peace and your presence, the confidence, creativity, joy, and your ability to go and actually use your gifts and superpowers in the most effective way. And once again, not by excusing what happened. That's not the point. Not by pretending it didn't hurt, but by deciding that your future is more important than someone else's past behavior. Now, I usually like to do this at the top of the video. I totally forgot to say welcome to the Giver Method channel. If you're new here, my name is Jake. So glad you're here. If you're back for another video, welcome back. Super excited to have you. Like I said, my name is Jake Talbert. I'm the founder and author of this book. It's called The Giver Method. And everything we talk about today is going to be grounded in principles from this book. Now, I highly recommend you get yourself a copy. Right now, it's on sale. It's on Amazon. You can get it for anywhere from $2 to $10 based off the version you buy for yourself. So go get yourself a copy. Buy yourself, someone else, a copy who needs it. Hey, buy 5 copies and give it to some friends. Bonus points for that. But here's what it comes down to is everything in here is grounded in principles because that are similar to the path you're walking right now. It's grounded in the principle that I know as a parent and entrepreneur, and when I've been in that corporate sea of cubicles, you can't just burn everything down and start from scratch. But I also know that as a parent entrepreneur, someone working away, trying to create impact, you have to be able to discover your gifts and superpowers, and you have to be able to do that in a way that you can create really intentional actions and value for other people and have deeper, more meaningful relationships. Like you need exercise and things that you can do in the life you're already living, and that's what this is. This is the guide, this is the playbook, the whatever, to get you to be able to discover your gifts and superpowers and make the impact that only you can make. So like I said, get yourself a copy, buy someone else a copy, links in the description, go get it on Amazon or pause the video, go to Amazon, The Giver Method, Jake Talbert, go get yourself a copy. There'll be all sorts of other resources down in the description as well. Now, if you're carrying around that emotional weight that you've never been shown how to put it down, then, you're in the right place. Maybe you've been shown and you just forgot, and this is your reminder. And if that's the case, great. Like the practices that I'm going to cover today, like make forgiveness practical and tangible and actually doable, even when you're not sorry. Like you're not letting someone off the hook for what they did. So we want to dive deep into that. So I'm going to cover some. I'm going to dive deep into these kind of practices. I think I've got 4 of them that I want to cover with you, and it'll really help you to see what that looks like. Once again, if you want to dive deeper, go get yourself a copy of The Giver Method, or visit thegivermethod.com for all the free resources we have, the survival mode assessment, our Giver roadmap, things like that, like the newsletter list. Follow us on all the social media channels: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, under the handle of The Giver Method. And then, of course, if you're looking for one-on-one support, someone who can guide you down the path, who's walked that path similar to you, then check out the one-on-one coaching link down below. It might make sense for us to book a call and discuss what that looks like for you. And then if you run a team, host a podcast, have an event, a stage, a community, whatever, where this sort of a message would resonate with them, let's talk about how we could bring it to them in a real way. There's a link down below about speaking and podcasting. And of course, do all the YouTube things, hit subscribe, tap that bell for notifications, and like the video, and then comment along the way if anything lands for you. Now with that, let's dive in. Let's not waste any more time and start learning how to finally release what's been weighing you down. And that's going to take us to the first practice, which I call the empty backpack release. This is all about letting yourself put down all the weight that you've been carrying. We talked about those like river rocks in a backpack, each rock just being set back where it belongs by the river, not that you're carrying it around every single day. Because there's a version of you we talked about that, has been carrying way more than anyone else out there can see. And the hard part is that when you've been carrying something long enough, it stops feeling heavy. It just feels normal to you. You don't even notice how much you're bending your posture or messing with it's messing with your patience or shrinking up your confidence. You just know that you're tired in a way that sleep or vacation or whatever it doesn't fix those for you. And so this first practice is about basically unburdening yourself, unburdening yourself of that stuff that you've been carrying. And it's a simple visualization that lets you feel how much weight you've actually been holding on to and what it's like when you actually set it down. And not metaphorically, not spiritually, but in a way that your nervous system actually understands hey, we're done carrying this and we can move forward. This is the moment where forgiveness stops being this idea and it starts becoming an experience. And honestly, most people don't need more information about forgiveness. They just need the moment where their body finally goes oh, wow. That's what that feels like when it's gone. That weight, that freedom, that's what that feels like. And so the first thing I want you to do as a part of this, how you're going to go about doing that is the first step you actually need to feel the weight. You need to know what the weight is. And so what you want to do is find just a quiet moment, maybe in your bedroom or your car in the driveway or anywhere that you can just breathe for a minute. And you're going to close your eyes and imagine this heavy backpack that's on your shoulders. And don't rush through this. Just feel what that feels like, that heavy backpack, the straps digging in, your body leaning forward, that quiet, exhaustion that just feels way too familiar. That's the emotional weight that you've been carrying, some of it for years, some of it for decades, stuff that you need to unburden yourself of. And then step 2 in this visualization, I want you to think about you're opening up that backpack. You're imagining okay, I'm going to take it off. I'm going to look inside. And inside are those big, river rocks, the smooth, cold, heavy kind, And each one has a label on it. The label is maybe someone who hurt you. Or maybe it's the moment you messed up. Something that you still replay in your mind. The regret that you rehearse again and again. Or maybe the version of you that you're still punishing. Once again, you don't have to write all those things down. Just notice what there is. Think through, if I'm visualizing, what are those things? What are those big rocks that are there? And step 3, you're going to take out one of the rocks. Pick the first one. Feel the weight of it in your hands. And ask it one simple question. Did this rock, did it teach me? What did it teach me? Not was it fair, not is it okay, just what did it teach me? Maybe it taught you boundaries. Maybe it taught you strength. Maybe it taught you like what you value and don't value. Maybe it taught you what not to repeat. Like there's a lesson there. There's a lesson based off that rock that you're carrying. What is it? Let's acknowledge what it is. Thank it for that. Be like, hey, thanks for the lesson here. And that's it. That's all I wanted to thank you for that. And then imagine setting it down. You know, in your mind, just imagine walking to the riverbank and placing that rock beside the water and gently, like intentionally being like, hey, I don't need to carry this anymore. You know, and then breathe. Feel your body loosen up when you're like, I don't need to carry that anymore. That failure, that mess up, that person that wronged you, whatever the thing is that you've been carrying, like what is it? And then go back. Step 5 is keep going. Go back to the backpack and repeat that for a few more rocks. Once again, you don't have to empty the whole thing today. In most cases, you're not going to be able to, right? But sometimes one rock is enough for your first session. You know, sometimes 10 can come out easily. Like both are perfectly fine. It's just about feeling the lightness. Like as you walk away lighter, like think about like, hey, when you set it down, everything, like here's everything I'm ready to release today. And then notice that backpack, it's lighter, it's looser, it feels different. And then imagine yourself walking away from the river. Those rocks get to stay there. You don't have to pick them back up. You know, once again, think about what it taught you. You know, that becomes the proof that the moments in your mind that used to drag around like are actually things that laid the foundation of who you are today. When I tell people all the time, you're the only person with your combination of gifts, superpowers, and experiences, the good, the bad, the everything in between. Like truthfully, like when you learn from what those rocks were, you can thank them and move forward and release the weight of what it's been carrying. Well, now you've got the freedom of mind, space, and that lighterness to go and use what you learned while you're using your gifts and superpowers to serve other people. Most people, they don't realize that like unforgiveness has been draining their energy as long as it has, like, and it's just been in the background for years. When you finally experience what it's like to put the weight down, even if it's for a moment, your whole system goes like, oh man, I forgot it could feel like this. I forgot it could feel this light. You know, that's the doorway to everything else. So, like presence with your kids, right? Clarity at work, confidence with your gifts, like more emotional bandwidth, like the actual life you want to build. Like it starts with that sort of a thing. And this helps you stop carrying the burdens that were never meant to be yours permanently. It gives you the way to like physically experience a release, not just think about it. You know, for busy parents, overwhelmed entrepreneurs, exhausted employees, it's a level of release that actually changes your daily life. And then that takes us into the second practice that I wanted to focus on. Now, this is the letter that you're never going to send, is what I call it. And I pull this from a bunch of different resources. Like there's recovery programs, there's, spirituality programs, there's all sorts of things. Like basically this is saying what your heart has been holding on to in a way that helps you just release. Because most people don't realize like that unforgiveness is building pressure like it's in a sealed container. You know, you replay those same moments in the shower. You rehearse the conversations that never actually happened. You imagine yourself finally saying the things you wish you had, but like never actually let the truth out in a way that your body can release it, you know? And so this second thing is about this, like the letter that you never send. It's where all that pressure finally gets out in a way. It's raw, it's honest, and it's all you. It's not for anyone else. It's 100% for yourself. That's why it's the letter you're not going to send. You know, the power isn't just in writing the truth, it's in watching it burn away. So the moment that you stop carrying like what someone else did for you or a past version of you, and you let your nervous system register like, hey, we're done with this, it has such amazing impact on your life. So the first thing is you're going to pick who the letter is for. You know, give the letter a name, not dear someone, not dear memory, not dear situation. Name the person or the version of yourself that you've been carrying. You know, the parent who hurt you, the partner, the person who betrayed you, the boss that made you feel small, the friend that maybe vanished when you need them, the past version of yourself that you still judge, the you who didn't know better. Whatever it is, don't overthink it. Just first name that comes up, write that one down. That's the right one to do. And then you're going to start with this exact phrase. At the top, you're going to be like, hey, I need to tell you. And then you just let it all pour out. It's not a polished version, not the nice version, not the one that you edited 100 times in your head or anything, like the real one. You know, it might sound like things like, hey, I need to tell you, I've been carrying this around for way too long. Hey, I need to tell you what you said still echoes inside me. I need to tell you how much it hurt when you did that. I need to tell you how, like I'm angry and I never let myself say that out loud. You know, or if you're writing to yourself, maybe it's like, hey, I need to tell you I'm sorry for how long I punished you for this. Hey, I need to tell you that you were, like, I know you were doing your best. Or I need to tell you that, like, I forgive you. Like, whatever those things are, let whatever it is come out however it needs to come out. Just keep writing. Like, and here's the thing. Don't pressure yourself to be like, well, I'm going to write a page, or like, just no, write until you're empty. That's the important part. Write until you feel tired. Write until your chest loosens up, till your hand hurts, till you hit the emotional, like, done feeling. And it might take 1 page, it might take 10, but like, do it exactly, like, just do it right then. Get it all out there. And then this is where you're going to, like, you burn it. You burn the idea, and if, like I said, so if it's a paper, like, this is where you're going to see the real release. You go somewhere safe, the fire pit, a metal bowl, sink, like somewhere that you can control the flame. Like, just be safe with that, right? And then you hold that letter one last time, and you take a breath, and then you literally light it on fire. And as it burns, say, hey, I'm letting go of this, or I'm free of this now. This chapter's closed, and you watch the words like curl and darken and disappear. Like, it's a powerful moment because your body believes what it can see. It sees, like, if you're telling yourself, I no longer have to deal with this. The emotions, the stress, the pain, I'm watching it burn away. And you wash the ashes away. Like, if it's in the sink, rinse it out. The bowl, the fire pit, like, whatever, scatter it out. Like, that's it. It's gone. It's released. It's not yours anymore to carry. That's what it is. That's how you, like, take this in a way that helps you release these things. Most people have never actually said what they need to say, not all at once. They've never taken the time and been like, I can get it all out there, especially if you're saying it to someone, because there's a chance of, like, interruptions or back and forth conversations. Like, no, this is about getting it all out there at the same time. Everything that you've held inside for years, sometimes decades, and, like, you're holding on to what you never speak out loud. Like, when you're doing that, it drains your energy. It kills confidence. It kills your creativity and your presence, like, for the people who matter to you. So this letter, like, when you write it, it gives you the emotional completion in a way that your brain starts to understand. You watch that thing burn, your nervous system finally releasing the signal, like, hey, we're done replaying that thing in our head. And that shows up in so many different ways. But this ritual, like I said, it's not about pretending the pain didn't happen. It's not about, like, it's just refusing to let it shape who you're becoming, right? It's choosing to stop carrying the weight that you've had pulling you down all the time, and making space for the person that you're ready to grow into, and make space for the people who, like, around you, they need you to be. And that takes us into the third practice, or the third area, right? And that's this energy reset map. So it's like seeing what is draining you and taking it back as a part of that, because, like, so many people we talk to and we work with, they have no idea how much that unforgiveness is leaking energy until they actually sit down and map it. They know they feel tired for no reason, to, like, numb around people they love, or, like, can't access joy or fulfillment or, creativity or confidence like the way that they used to. And it's because the drain has been happening slowly for years. They never realized what's been causing it. That's why this energy reset map is such a great practice. Like, it helps you to finally see the emotional weight that you've been dragging, and it shows you exactly, like, what reclaiming it now, like, how that you're choosing that through forgiveness. And so this is where you stop being the person who got drained, like, who has things being drained. You just start becoming the person who's taking back their energy step by step. And so here's how you're going to do this. Here's what you're going to do. The first thing is, like, you need to list everything still taking up emotional space. Like, if you grab a journal, open up a doc, note app on your phone, whatever, and list every person, moment, memory that still tugs at your emotions. The person who hurt you, someone who disappointed you, the failure that keeps stinging, the mistake that you keep replaying, the season of your life that you still judge yourself for. We all have them. And sometimes they pop back up into your life. They pop back into your life when you unexpect them. And they tug at your heartstrings. I know they do. So whatever this thing is, we don't want to generalize it. We want to be very specific. Instead of, like, writing, like, hey, be my dad. Like, it's like, no, right, my dad's criticism when I was this age, or instead of a business failure, it's like, hey, closing my first business in 2019. Like, the details of it don't matter. The clarity is what matters, right? You can't reclaim what you don't name. So, like, we want to be as clear as we can be there. And then you're going to create 3 columns there that you can write into, right? And so here's what these columns are going to be. The first one is, like, what this took from me. Then we're going to talk about what it taught me. And then we're going to talk about what you're reclaiming now. So, like, what this took from me, and be brutally honest, it took this thing that happened, it took my confidence, my trust in myself. It took my presence around my family. It took my peace at night. It took my willingness to take risks. What did it take from you? This part is confronting, but it's so clarifying when you do it. Like, even thinking about, as I've done it in the past, like, gives me chills. So that second column, like, what did it teach me? Every painful moment leaves that wisdom. Like, okay, we talked about, like, with the river rocks, right? What did I learn from this? Okay, well, it taught me boundaries. It taught me what kind of leader I didn't want to be. It taught me what my worth is, that's not based on people's opinions. It taught me how to protect my peace. It taught me like that failure isn't final. Whatever it is, like we're turning the wounds that you had into wisdom. And then the third column is like, what am I reclaiming now? And that's where things shift. Like, and you're going to write it in present tense, like as if it's already happening. So like with that, like, well, I'm going to reclaim my joy. Like I'm reclaiming my presence with my family. I'm reclaiming my confidence or my peace. And I'm reclaiming the energy and my voice. Not someday, not I hope to. Like I'm reclaiming it now. That's part of what I'm doing. Like this column becomes like your declaration, your direction, like your new identity that gives you the power to move forward. And then the third thing you want to do here is you want to read column 3 every morning for the next 30 days. Like this is where we're rewiring your identity. You read like, I'm reclaiming statements out loud every morning. You're teaching your brain to see it as someone who actively is taking their life back, not someone stuck in what happened. And one morning you're going to read out loud and suddenly be like, oh, this actually feels true now. Like, and that's when you know the big shift has happened, that you're starting to live it in a different way. Maybe you need to put actual, like, what's the release date? I'm going to release this thing. I'm going to forgive that person. I'm going to release the failure I had from 2019 or whatever. I'm going to let it go on this date and put it on your calendar. That way you know what you're working towards. Sometimes people need that goal. That's something that doesn't work for everybody, but it's a great resource that it might help you along the way. Here's the thing though, like most people think the exhaustion is coming, that they're experiencing, the burnout, the frustration, overwhelm, stress, like that it's from work or kids or responsibilities or just like we're getting older, right? But the truth is like that unforgiveness is draining more energy than anything else in your life. Once you map it, you can see like, what the wound took from you and then declare what you're reclaiming. Man, something changes. You stop feeling like something, like someone like that life happened to, and you start feeling like someone who's actively taking back their life bit by bit. This practice gives you like something completely priceless, the evidence that you are growing and healing and reclaiming and rebuilding yourself in real time. And then that takes us into the fourth one. Okay, this is the self-closure reset, which is freeing yourself from when like when you're not sorry, right? And that's a hard truth most people never say out loud. Like some of the people who hurt you will never apologize to you. Like some don't think they did anything wrong. Some aren't capable of taking responsibility. Some aren't even here anymore to say the words that you've waited for years to hear, right? You can't even get it from them. And if you keep waiting for them to make the right move, you end up building your life around that moment that might never change. You avoid situations. You avoid people. You make decisions that you probably wouldn't have made because you're doing those sort of things, because you're waiting for the other person to take some sort of an action that's not going to happen. I can tell you, I know from personal experience, right? We keep waiting for it. Like we're waiting for them to do the thing. And so we stay stuck in this pause. You stay emotionally hooked to someone that, who maybe has already moved on or who you can't reconnect with. And so that's the self-closure reset, like how you stop waiting and finally close that chapter for yourself. It's how you say like, hey, my future matters more than their past behavior, more than what that thing was. This isn't pretending like what happened didn't hurt you, because it did. But we learned from it. We can reclaim where we are. So we're just choosing to not let us hurt like how we were writing our story moving forward. And so here's what you're going to do. First thing, you're going to like name what you've been waiting for. If you grab your journal or whatever, like a notes app or whatever, and you write out the sentence that you've been replaying for years. Like, hey, I've been waiting for my dad to admit that he was wrong. I've been waiting for my ex to acknowledge how deeply they hurt me. I've been waiting for my boss to recognize how unfair they were. I've been waiting for myself to undo what happened. I've been waiting for myself to forgive myself for what I did. I've been waiting for those individuals who said the things they said, turned their back on me, to realize what they did, how it impacted other people. Whatever the thing is, be brutally honest. Like this sort of a clarity, like it in itself is like emotional oxygen, right? What have you been waiting for? I've been waiting for that thing, the ex to acknowledge how much they hurt me and what they did was wrong or whatever. Like, great. So now like we need to accept the truth that you've avoided. You write it out. Hey, they never gave me what I was waiting for. Even if they did, it wouldn't undo what happened. Like you write it out. You accept that fact that it's like, hey, they never forgave me. They never said sorry for the thing they did. They never showed up in that sort of a way. But even if they did, like I would still have the pain in my heart. I still would have known that it happened. Once again, you're not admitting defeat. It's just The moment that you stop outsourcing your healing to waiting for them, and you just be like, hey, I get it. You didn't. But even if it did, like, it wouldn't change what happened here. And then you separate forgiveness from reconciliation. You know, you write this down word for word. Like, and trust me, you have to write this down if you need to replay the video. Like, this is going to be the most important part. Forgiveness is an internal release. Reconciliation is an external relationship. They are not the same. You can forgive and still never speak to them again. You can forgive and still set strong boundaries. You can forgive while fully acknowledging, like, they're not safe, like, whatever. Like, this is truly wise forgiveness, not being passive forgiveness, right? I can forgive them and not try to resolve the thing that, you know, with them. And then you complete a closure statement, you know? And so there's like a template, and I wrote this out, you know, because I'm pulling from great resources. Like, I did not come up with this template here. So, but it's like, hey, I'm releasing my expectation that this person, whoever it is, the blank person, will ever apologize or acknowledge or change. Like, I'm releasing the expectation that they're going to do that. I'm choosing to close this chapter myself. What happened taught me whatever lesson. You know, I'm no longer defined by whatever the event, you know, action thing was. My future matters more than their past behaviors. This chapter is closed because I say so. Like, I'm free to move forward now. And you write this thing out, you read it out loud slowly, and you feel the shift inside you. Like, I wrote a couple examples based off other people I've heard go through this. And so, like, you know, they're not tied to any one specific person, but you can hopefully see what it looks like in real life. So as a parent, it might be like, I'm releasing the expectation that my father will ever admit the pain that his criticism caused. What happened taught me that my worth isn't tied to his approval. Like, I'm no longer defined by being the disappointing child. Like, I'm closing that chapter and I'm free now. You know, if you're thinking about this from like an ex perspective, like, it's like, hey, I'm releasing my expectation that they'll ever take responsibility for their betrayal. You know, what happened taught me, like, what loyalty is supposed to look like. Like, I'm no longer defined by being the one who was left. And so I'm closing that chapter and I'm freeing myself of that now. You know, or if you're forgiving yourself for something, this is a big one. Hey, I release the expectation that I can undo the mistake I made. What happened taught me boundaries. It taught me wisdom. Like, I'm no longer defined by who I was back then. Could have been a year ago, 5, 10, 20 years, however long back. Like, I'm no longer defined by who I was back then. I'm closing that chapter. I've closed that chapter, and I'm free now. And then you take these things and you practice the redirect. Like, your mind will absolutely try to reopen this wound. Sometimes you see them post something on social media. Sometimes you run into them somewhere. Sometimes you have somebody else bring them up at random, where they're like, oh, have you heard about, you know, sometimes it's yourself, whatever it is. Like, you're going to have these things that try to reopen that wound. And so you choose a phrase that is going to help you with this, and you memorize it. Like, hey, that chapter's closed and I've already processed it. You know, or hey, I don't revisit this anymore. I learned my lesson from it. You know, or hey, I release that and I'm choosing my future over their past. And you say it every time that your brain tries to drag you back down into that channel. You know, you're training your mind to stop handing out free rent to people that don't live in your life anymore. And so then you can go and set the internal boundaries with that, where you write out your commitment, like, hey, I don't let this person or event have unlimited access to my mental space anymore. These internal boundaries they're invisible but powerful, because they protect you from, like, the emotional hijacking that could come from that. Whenever the old narrative pops up, gently remind it, like, hey, it's closed. I'm good. I'm here. Here's who I am now, and, like, I'm moving forward from that. You know, because the things, like, we're waiting for someone else to make things right keeps us emotionally stuck for years, even decades. Whether that's someone that you're trying to make it right with them, or you're trying to make it right with yourself from your own past. And most people don't realize, like, they built an entire, like, inner world around this apology that they're still waiting for. And so, like, this self-generated closure gives you your power back. Like, that's the moment where you stop letting someone else's past behavior shape your today. You stop being defined by the wound and start being defined by the wisdom. It's the moment that you choose your own freedom without their permission. You know, your closure, it's not waiting on them anymore. It's waiting on you to just do something about it, say something about it. And so that's where I want to leave you with today. Like, forgiveness, it isn't about letting anyone off the hook in any sort of a way. It's about unhooking yourself from the moments that have been dragging behind yourself all these years, these rocks that you've been carrying. Every time you feel that heaviness, when you're snapping at something, the hesitation, the fatigue that makes no sense no matter how much what you're actually doing. Like the weight of the things that you've been carrying, they were never meant to be yours. They live in your backpack forever if you don't do anything. And the second you realize that, man, I don't need their apology to move forward. I don't need to, I can reclaim all this. I can take my energy back. I can get my presence back. I can get myself back as a part of that. And so, that's the starting point. Simple, doable things that we talked about today. Grab a piece of paper, write down the one thing that you're carrying, a person, a memory, a mistake, and then ask yourself a question like, carrying this is costing me what? And that sentence will actually show you, why things matter to take change, why to take action, why to do these practices we talked about. Tomorrow, just take one action towards, setting down the rock that you've been carrying. I'd say you don't have to get all of it, just take out the one piece. Your shoulders are going to feel the difference. It makes a huge change for you. And now if you want to dive deeper into that, that then frees up your ability to then go and actually use your gifts and superpowers to make impact in people's lives. So if you want to dive deeper into your gifts, your alignment, your relationships, your leadership, then that's where, once again, you grab yourself a copy of the Giver Method off Amazon. Have amazing impact on you. You can go to givermethod.com, learn more about the ways we help people, get some of our free resources. Those are going to be down in the description as well as if you want to look into our one-on-one coaching spots. I've got a couple open for people who are looking to have someone walk alongside them in that journey. And of course, if you lead a team, host a podcast, stage an event of some kind where this sort of message would resonate with them, then let's talk about how we bring it to them in a very real way. And of course, do all the YouTube things, like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring a bell for notifications, drop a comment on which of the practices you want to put into place next. Remember this, you are closer to the freedom that you're looking for than you think. One release, one shift, one rock taken out of the bag, one honest moment at a time, you can start reclaiming back that energy and start really stepping into who's that you're meant to be. You've got this, I promise you do. And the world's waiting for you to do that. And the universe wants to provide you with all sorts of amazing opportunities when you start being able to show up as you in the most fully authentic way possible. So let's do the work. Let's release these things. Let's forgive the things that we can release and move ourselves forward based off that. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Feel free to check out the other videos on the channel. There's all sorts of ways that we help people. And hopefully we'll catch you in one of our upcoming videos. Have a great rest of your day.